of investing in, on behalf of Investing in Women, I'd like to welcome everyone this afternoon to this Gender Lens Investment Showcase. And I'd like to also say congratulations to AVPN and the investing community here in Indonesia for joining forces for this event with this wonderful lineup of speakers this afternoon. Women entrepreneurs play a significant role in job creation and economic growth in Indonesia and indeed across the region. Research commissioned by Investing in Women and carried out by IntelliCap and Value for Women shows that the capital deployed with a gender lens has registered a sharp increase in our region over the past 3 years. Nevertheless, it remains a relatively small part of total capital flows. And we also recognise that we're facing a significant risk that COVID-19 could undo the fragile gains in women's economic empowerment and worsen existing gender inequalities everywhere. What we are grappling with is a systematic challenge. There's a huge gap in the capital market for gender-smart responses. From capital allocators and investors to entrepreneurs, this AVPN platform has successfully brought us together today, despite COVID-19 and the restrictions. So this afternoon provides an exciting opportunity to learn directly from some of the leading female founders and fund managers in Indonesia. I'm looking forward to learning from your experiences. And as Natalie said, I encourage all participants to be active in the Q&A. There's so much to learn from each other today. As we acknowledge contributions of women in building inclusive and resilient economies, I'd like to make 3 requests of all of you today. Firstly, wherever you are on the capital spectrum, please allocate a percentage of your capital for women-led businesses. Secondly, include women more fully in your operations and unlock the latent potential of women in the Indonesian economy. And finally, please reflect on your deal sourcing and investment processes and identify opportunities to use a gender lens. Together, Investing in Women and AVPN are committed to building a vibrant gender lens investing ecosystem here in Indonesia and across Southeast Asia. I hope the event today will inspire you to undertake your own journey to drive the flow of capital with a gender lens. Thank you so much for this opportunity to welcome you today, and let me hand back to Natalie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Julia Newton-House. We are honored to have you here today. And as you said, we are incredibly excited to be learning from everyone here. Now we will begin our investment showcase. Please note a few practical items for you, the audience, to engage with us online. We will have 2 investment showcases, which are each 25 minutes long. Each speaker will briefly introduce their work and how it relates to gender lens investing, and then we will have an interactive conversation. We welcome questions from the audience at any point during the showcase. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to type in your questions. We would also love to see your comments in the chat box function. We hope this conversation can be interactive and insightful, so please do ask your questions early on. We will try our best to answer as many as we can in the time frame, and we look forward to learning from you all. For the first investment showcase, I welcome Mr. Romi Chaghadi, Ms. Mutiara Higma Mahendradatta, and Ms. Sandra Alfina. Mr. Romi is CEO and co-founder of Instellar. Instellar works with international development agencies, corporate and impact investors to run incubation and acceleration programs and various social innovation projects with partners from Australia, Korea, Thailand, Japan, and Europe. I also welcome Ms. Mutiara and Ms. Sandra. Ms. Mutiara is CEO of EduCourse, an intelligent future education platform for STEAM learning with artificial intelligence and augmented reality. Ms. Sandra is CEO and co-founder of Suncrisps, a local brand of food manufacturing startup who is on a mission to transform the landscape of the nutritious and healthy food industry in Indonesia. I welcome you all to the first investment showcase. Mr. Romi, please.
Thanks, Natalie, and thank you, first of all, for AVPN and Investing in Women for hosting this great event. I think it is very timely that we have such an event now. I think the pandemic has intensified all the awareness that we have regarding changes we need to do in the society, and in particular, I think for now we want to stress out the importance of gender lens investing. And with this, I would like to share that from Instellar, we as a purpose-driven company has been engaging in various activities to support women entrepreneurs. First of all, I would like to share with you all that half of the entrepreneurs that we have been supporting are women. So out of, I think, 150 impact-driven businesses or social enterprises that we have been working with, half of them are led by women. In the past, we also have supported a few research activities, actually. One of them was carried out by Sasakawa Peace Foundation in Indonesia to find out the challenges faced by women entrepreneurs in Indonesia and how we can help them better in growing their business and their impact, of course. And I think I would spend more in introducing the panelists I have the pleasure of introducing now. And both of these companies and female entrepreneurs are very dear to me. The first one is EduCourse, and Mutiara is here with us. EduCourse is an education company, and they are very aware of the challenges we have currently, and especially the lack of STEAM learning, STEAM being science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And they are devising products and services to address this issue. Under EduCourse, 80% of the users are women. 70% of the workers are women. And even in the back end, the programmers, 50% of the programmers are also female. And this is, I think, quite encouraging to know that even in the digital tech sector, which we know sometimes women are not very prominent, I think EduCourse shows some leadership here. The second company I have the pleasure to introduce is Suncrisps, and they have, and Sandra here is the co-founder and CEO. Their employees, 78% are women. The customers also, 93% are women. And in the value chain, 60% of the farmers are women. And one of the most interesting fact I would like to share before I give out to these two entrepreneurs are that actually both Mutiara and Sandra, they of course they are both CEO, and they are supported by their spouse, actually. And I think this is a very, being partners both in a family and in business could pose a quite challenging situation, I would say. But I'm really happy and thrilled to have them both today, and to know that they are with us today. So without further ado, I'd like to give the opportunity to Mutiara to start your sharing, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Romi. Well, hi everyone. I am Mutiara Hikmah Mahindradata, CEO and founder of EduCourse, the Future Skills Accelerator. So EduCourse is an intelligent future skill platform for STEAM learning using AI, artificial intelligence, and AR, augmented reality. Well, next. So we face the problem in Indonesia. Less preparation of educational system in Indonesia to cope with global future, which is full of technical challenge. We can see from the next slide that there is a changing of job roles from the next slide about cognitive work to be higher order thinking skill in the next slide, please. Okay, so there is routine manual or cognitive work to be higher order thinking skill. Actually, the current education system in Indonesia doesn't equip the students with 21st century skill, but STEAM learning will fill the gap. Next. And here we have the target market, 12 big city in Indonesia, K-12 school with A accreditation, and more than 50 million students in Indonesia. Well, so next. This is our product, STEAM learning, science, technology, engineering, art, and maths. This is integration of 5 discipline knowledge, and we have the other skill support like languages, music, art, wellness, social, and life skill. And all of this one support by artificial intelligence and augmented reality to give better experience learning and learning quality. Well, so here is our product, augmented reality and also artificial intelligence. For languages, this artificial intelligence can be our speaking partner. Okay, well, next. So here is our product roadmap. We launched our website last year, June 2020, and next month we will launch our applications. And we will B2B with about 9 schools. And next. Here is our founder, me. I am Mutiara Hikmah Mahindradata, and also Mr. Permata as a MVP Alibaba 2020. Well, thanks. And here is our traction. So far, in a year, we already get revenue about 1.2 billion rupiah, and we have more than 10,000 students and have more than 1,000 classes. Next. And here is, we are not only do our business, but we also care with social impact. We have more than 60 plus EduTalk seminar and more than 100,000 participants. Well, and yeah, as Mr. Romy said, that we are women in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and maths. 70% of our worker is female staff. And also the students, more than 80% is female students. So we are welcoming. STEM is not related with men only, but also women can working in STEM. Yeah, of course, this is aligning with UN Sustainability Development Goals, quality education, economic growth, industry, and also reduce inequality. Okay. Yeah, so what Instellar support from us to us? First, Instellar give us insight about growth strategic business plan review, financial projection evaluation, and fundraising assistance. But it's not only about business partner, but EduCourse and Instellar, it is like a family because Instellar is our role model as a social impact startup. So we have like a parents Instellar because we are not only get advice, but we also get the role model. Yeah, next. So what's the next? Yeah, in 2020, we have many achievement national and international competitions, but we will focus as a pioneer of STEAM courses in Indonesia. So now on, we are on progress as the first organization who provides standard and formal preparing STEAM and STEM programs and instruction methods. Well, so we will do our STEAM Indonesia movement. So last year we already have 60 adult seminar, and we will continue with 100 more seminar in 2021 and 2022. We will collaborate with 439 education institutions in all over Indonesia. So we will make STEAM Indonesia movement and STEAM hybrid learning movement. Well, so to continue our journey, we are welcoming the corporate to join together with us to give a bigger social impact, to give more education in Indonesia to be better. So that's all our presentation. Hopefully the information we just given is going to be useful, and thank you very much for the attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mutiara, for your great presentations. Next, please go ahead, Sandra.
Okay, thank you, Mas Romi. Nice to have me here. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Sandra. Next, I am CEO and co-founder of Suncrypts. So together with my partner, Ricky, so he's my husband also, we are building Suncrypts from zero until now. Why we building Suncrypts? Because we love to farm and love to eat. And we also have concern about the mothers in Indonesia, especially in this pandemic era. So the children is in the home, school from home, but they still need the food intake that has a nutritious food. So the mother has a challenge, and because she's too busy to handle the juggling stuff between husband and between the children, so she has difficulties to provide the nutritious food in the house. So that's why we are here. We want to transform the healthy food and nutritious food landscape in Indonesia. Next, by building a food manufacturing company that process local vegetables in Bogor area to healthy food snacks, to help urban mother to providing healthy snacks in Indonesia. And we are very concerned about the nutrition. So we want to preserve the 85% of the nutrition inside the products. So here you can see our products from sticks to puffs, and then to marine. So it's very colorful because we use the natural colorant from vegetables. So we process the fresh vegetables into the natural colorant by ourselves, and then we put it into the snacks, and we process all of them under the certification of halal, also HACCP, and also BPOM. So it's very safe for the children and also the family. Next. And I want to show you that our dream, because we want to nourish children not only in Indonesia, but also in the world, to be brightest generation by innovating food products from vegetables for family. So we do that with 3 ways. That first is innovative products that comes from vegetables, and also we want to distribute it widely area in Indonesia and also in the world. And also we want to educate the parents and children how important it is to eat vegetables daily and to fulfill the daily intake. Next. So basically our business industry is we are sourcing directly the vegetables from local farmers and also other suppliers for the raw ingredients, and then we process it in our facility, and then we distribute it like direct to consumers with our website and also marketplaces, and also with retailers from online resellers, and to offline resellers like in supermarkets. And also now we are doing direct to business. So we want to provide our products to complement their products in their business. And also we are doing a Maklun or OEM. Next. So this is our market distribution. So our market distribution almost all over Indonesia until Maluku, but it's distributed mostly concentrated in Java Island. Next. So we are working with farmers in Bogor. So 60% of them are women. So we work directly with farmers and also their family. So we are very close with their family also, because we want to educate them not only in how to farming, but how to run the life and how they can grow their business, their farm, so they can grow bigger and also support other business beside us. Next. And also, we are working with young women under 25 years old. So 78% of our employees are women, and we want to give special career development inside Suncrypt so they can grow together with Suncrypt. Next. And this is our customers. So 93% of the customers are women, because we want to educate these women to empower their family and also their children, that the children has to know why the vegetables is important, and also they can eat since they are young. So when they grow older and being adults, they still like the vegetables and not difficult to eat it. Next. This is our journey. So thankfully in 2020 we are growing 120% yearly growth from 2019 in this pandemic era, and also we grow profitable in 2020, and we are recognized by Kementerian Pariwisata Indonesia and also Kementerian Perindustrian. So we got some achievements in 2020. Next. So this is a simple journey with Instagram, but a very remarkable, because in 2018 we were joining their incubation program, and continued in 2019 we were joining the social enterprise program with DBS. So we learned a lot from installer program. So from basic knowledge about the business and the impact, and also the financial projection. So after that, in 2020, in early before the pandemic, we got interview also with Sasakawa Peace Foundation, mentioned with Mas Romi before. So in this opportunity, we were really happy that we can introduce our business to other world outside Indonesia, and they are very interested in our business. Next. So this is some of the interview that done with SPF and also local media. Next. That's all from me. Thank you for joining. You can learn about Suncrypt in www.suncrypt.id. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra, for your great presentations. There are already actually 2 questions from the audience, but before we respond to this, I have also a couple of questions, if you don't mind, for both of you.
Sure.
Yeah, the first one is, this is an investment showcase, right? So can you share some information? Are you fundraising right now? And yeah, what type of ticket size you are looking for, and how you are going to use the fund for? Maybe Mutiara first.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Mr. Romi. So yes, right now we are in the fundraising phase, and just 2 months ago, we are the winner of Indigo Telkom 2021. So we will get convertible notes from Telkom Indigo, about 2 billion rupiah. Actually, we need about 3 billion rupiah to our seed run. So that's why we are looking for the co-investment who want to collaborate with us. So that's all about our fundraising information so far. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mutiara. And you, Sandra?
Okay, so actually, yeah, we are open for fundraising. Now we need for expanding our production facility. So we want to expand it with the fundraise fund, and our value for fundraising is about 1 billion rupiah for this year, because we have to expand to buy some machinery for the production, because now we do the, like, what is it? We make the shape of the snacks is manually with the hand. So it cannot compete with other competitors that use the machinery to make it form. And also that's our challenge today with the customers.
Okay. Yeah, the first question from the audience, I think it's good if we respond directly, is I will read it directly. what was the biggest hurdle before the idea getting started, or now in the finding investors to work with? So I guess the question is, during your entrepreneurial journeys, can you share some insights, some lessons, which is the hardest experience, whether it's now during fundraising or before this stage?
Okay, sure. So for me, I start to find investor about 6 months ago, and I list about more than 20 venture capital, and I already did pitching about more than 15, I guess.
Okay.
But we do competition and also directly pitching to the venture. But until now, about 6 months, we got many achievement, but we maybe only one competition who give us the investment as a convertible note. So that's why this is difficult for us, because we are young and we need a business advisor how to get the investment, and yeah, we should have many information to how to handle in pitch deck and so on.
Okay. How about you, Sandra?
For me, a little bit different, because yeah, it's hard to getting started because you have to get a leap of faith. But the hardest part for me until now is how to grow ourselves, how to open ourselves and also our team to develop more and more by time to time, to be better at the business knowledge, and also how to be better at handling the team and also handling the human inside the company, because it's very complicated if it's a human. And yeah, and now we're still learning also. So we got mentors really concerned about how the organizational behavior, how the psyche of the organizational. So we are still learning about it. And hopefully when we can do it and we can handle it, we have the strong foundation how to grow our company. So when it's getting bigger, it will be like tough, and also it's not easily collapse.
Right. So you are saying that yes, of course, you also need funding. Of course, fundraising is important, as Mutiara mentioned as well for now. But building the internal capacity of the organization, of the company, is also important, even more important. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Mutiara also has same problem.
Right. Can you both be more specific about this, if you don't mind? Because the next questions is from Miss Dwi Wahyuni, and she's asking precisely this question actually. Other than fundraising, what is your burden or challenge to keep or sustain your business? Yes. Mutiara, maybe you want to go first.
Yes, right. So as Ms. Sandra mentioned before, the fundamental is the most important things. So because we are also women and we need support from the other, of course, the internal is the important. So in daily life, we should meet about the problem, like internal human resources, and after that the marketing. So the operational itself always there is something new problem in internal. So that's why this is important to have really strong fundamental after we finish with this fundamental, so we can go to and we can ready to be expand and to be bigger after that. Yeah. So this is the most important thing, like fundamental in daily life and daily operation, because the human always meet the problems.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And Sandra?
I almost same with Mutiara. So besides the foundation, also this foundation and also this day-to-day distraction is needed for investors to trust with us. So depends on which investors that we want to choose, because there's a lot of type of investors. If the investors just know us this short time, they need some proof that we can sustain our business, right? But if it's our friends or our old friends, yeah, it's easier because they have known us like before we start the business. So maybe they can trust us. But if it's outside that, outsiders, I mean, we just know him just right now. Yeah, we need to prove them with our traction, with our foundation that we are strong enough to get bigger and bigger later on.
Okay. We just received some cue from Janice. So I want to ask you to give very quick statement because we have less than 1 minute. This is an investment showcase, but with a gender lens perspective. So can you mention just quickly what is your insight or opinion about this? Maybe it's the way you run the business differently, or maybe, as I mentioned, the interesting part of running the business with your spouse at the same time. Can you share something, some wisdom with us?
Okay, sure. So STEAM learning is new for Indonesian people, and especially for women, because STEAM usually relate with men. So we will break the perspective that women can work in STEAM and women can also work on STEAM. So that's all. And we can give a new way of education, a new way of learning, and accelerate the quality of learning with our method, with our mission. So just go ahead with our mission and consistent with our work.
Thank you, Mutiara. Sandra?
Okay, for me, purposely driven business is very important because, like Mas Romi said, yeah, it's not easy to run the business with our spouse, and how to manage the time and also the emotion, basically. So when we know our purpose about the business, how we want ourselves to make an impact in the world, yeah, it will be our biggest fuel to survive in this kind of business. Yeah, that's all from me. And also, don't be afraid to start and don't be afraid to take a leap of faith.
Thank you, Sandra and Mutiara, for your insights and opinion, and also for your presentations earlier. Hopefully, this is useful for you as well as for the audiences. So thank you, everyone, for this session. I will return now to Natalie.
Thank you so much, Mr. Romi, Ms. Mutiara, and Ms. Sandra. It was so lovely to hear about your journey working together and about how your work is really shaping the future of education and health. And now I am pleased to move to the second investment showcase, where I will welcome Ms. Virginia Tan, Ms. Jana Marlin von Raveno, and Ms. Sarah Duanto. Ms. Virginia is the founding partner of Teja Ventures, the first gender lens VC fund for emerging Asia. As a pioneering thought leader for gender and technology in Asia, she also founded She Loves Tech, the world's largest startup competition for women and technology. Ms. Jana is CEO and founder of Cyclus, which provides an alternative to the FMCG's single-serving sachets of household products by providing product refills in reusable containers. Ms. Sarah is CEO, founder, and managing director of Dutape, which provides mobile-enabled financial services for the unbanked. I welcome you all to the second investment showcase. Ms. Virginia, please.
Thank you, Natalie, and thank you to AVPN and Investing in Women for the opportunity to present Teja Ventures and introduce these two amazing entrepreneurs to you all today. So very quickly, Teja Ventures was launched in December 2018 as the first gender lens VC fund for emerging Asia. And we really invest in the intersection of what we call the female economy and technology. And a huge focus for us is in Indonesia, where more than half of our portfolio companies are actually based. So you know, a huge part of basically of our thesis is that women are really the single largest arbitrage opportunity of our generation. They are undervalued opportunity set, whether they are entrepreneurs, whether they are consumers, whether they are traffic, whether they are mobile workforce. And technology is really the game changer to unlock that opportunity. I just wanted to maybe share a little bit of a view of the way we see gender lens investing at Teja. Gender lens investing, I think integrates gender-based factors into investment analysis. I think we more than 70% of our current portfolio is focused on women entrepreneurs, but I really do believe that gender lens investing looks at the broader opportunity, which is taking into account the value of women in the entire investment value chain. And so we have the first one, which we are, really focusing on today, which is, sorry, can you please go back to the previous slide? Yeah. I think it's the first lens that we use as gender is really women entrepreneurship and women's ownership. And then I think the three other lenses that we actually really look at is, women as a workforce, women as a consumer, and actually how do we benefit women in the wider sort of ecosystem. Yeah. Next slide, please. I wanted to talk a little bit more about why technology is so important as a game changer when we look at our investments. And I will let sort of Yana as well as Sarah actually go deeper into technology is a game changer. But it's I think technology really unlocks labor when women are actually more likely to be time poor or informally employed. And being able to increasingly unlock that kind of mobile and flexible labor, for women, especially in countries whereby they're, more than informally employed. I think Indonesia is actually one of them. The ability to really, access to assets, being able to build assets and transcend that physical barriers like discrimination and bias, bringing down the cost of a lot of things, including things like education, like what we saw in that first entrepreneur today. One of the things I learned actually from Indonesia is that in countries where families are more willing to spend on men's education than women's education, having, investing in for example, technology or technology-driven education is actually, huge in increasing women's access to education. And so lowering the cost of core services like FMCG, healthcare, education, etc. And financial services. Yeah. And then I think finally, something I really believe in terms of a gender lens, I think is, being, technology being, allowing women, to really scale and monetize their existing social behaviors, turning them into micro entrepreneurs, for example, with very, very little capital outlay. So I think I'm excited because from out of Indonesia, I'm seeing more and more of these models which actually leverage upon women and their strengths. Next slide, please. I talked a bit about the she economy in Asia, and I think all I really wanted to say for Teja was that I think investing in women, is to me much more than doing a social good. To me, it's the opportunity of our lifetime, of my generation. And I think leveraging upon that opportunity is why I really set up Teja. I think you have women as drivers on one hand, you have the explosion of the Asian digital economy on the other hand, and the she economy opportunity right in the middle, in terms of spending, in terms of the way women are spending, and in terms of the amount of women just entering the workforce. Next slide, please. Next slide. And I think, what really got us, in Teja Ventures, what really got us here is actually, it was a sort of a slow build up. I used to run what was one of China's largest nonprofit organizations for women, building women communities. We had more than 100,000 members, and then we launched a startup competition called She Loves Tech. And I'm very proud to say that both Sarah from Do It Ape as well as Yana from Cyclist all have gone through She Loves Tech. She Loves Tech is now in more than 40 countries across the world. And then what I really, really realized is that you can have great communities and you can have great technology, but if you didn't have capital, you still wouldn't be able to scale. These businesses wouldn't be able to grow. And that's why we built Teja. Next slide. And I think this is where we are now with She Loves Tech, and She Loves Tech is actually what brought me to Indonesia to begin with. And actually, I met Sarah from Duit Ape actually in our very first She Loves Tech in 2017. And our goal is really to unlock $1 billion worth of capital. Think of if every single woman entrepreneur actually invested, actually raised $1 million, and you had, 1,000 women entrepreneurs, you would unlock $1 billion. Yeah, so that's really our aim. Next slide. Yeah, I think, when we built Teja and I really wanted to build a real ecosystem, a real ecosystem for the female economy. And also, what we felt was really important was to really support our entrepreneurs like Sarah, like Yana, in catalyzing and mobilizing capital from other strategic and mainstream investors after us. We wanted to really be the first institutional investor. We wanted to be a catalyst. And apart from giving money, what we really believe in was, really being able to provide unique insights on the female economy, on consumer needs and behavior, being really to provide that support in terms of the kind of transformation they needed for, technology or business model, and actually really creating, an entire ecosystem for the female economy, whereby, you can support them, whether it's supply chain, whether it's on consumer channels, whether it was on the right team, because these are all some of the pain points that entrepreneurs actually face. And if I may say, women actually face, I would say, greater fundraising challenges, not always just because of pure physical bias or discrimination, but I think a lot in terms of being shut out of certain networks, or not necessarily having, technology business model knowledge, or not necessarily having access to the right team. And I think a good venture capitalist or a good fund can help you identify those gaps. So you actually know, like, what is that, what are you missing, or why are investors not coming to you? What is the tweak that you may need to make? Yeah. Next. Yeah, so this is what we believe is a network effect, the she economy in the fund. And I think finally, next slide, please. Yeah, and I think finally, before I introduce, I think the other, Yana and actually Sarah, what I would like, is to sort of share the way we look at companies when we invest. The 3 gender lenses we try to apply. Obviously, the women-led lens is the lens that we're talking about today. But the other 2 lenses, which are also really important to us, is, does it serve disproportionately women consumers? And how does it really impact women in the ecosystem as a whole? Yeah. Can you skip to the slide with both cyclists as well as, yes. So I'm really proud to introduce cyclists and Duit Ape. And, I think it's a great privilege to work with entrepreneurs who are visionary, who have grit, and who are really building something that you believe the world really needs. And that's exactly how I feel about these 2 companies and these 2 very special women. I think Cyclist is a refillable FMCG platform, and I'm excited about that because it's a first mover in Indonesia's refillable FMCG space for the mass market consumer. And Indonesia is trying now to cut down and completely eradicate single-use plastic. So I think this is something which is not just socially good, but actually much needed. And I think what is awesome about something like this is that when you sell FMCG without plastic, you're actually also cheaper, much cheaper actually. And then when it comes to Duit Ape, which is essentially fintech, for the unbanked, I watched Duit Ape, grow 50 times last year because of COVID. I really do believe, in giving people more access to financial services in a cashless way. And I think COVID-19 showed us that we need to be able to distribute payments, even without, in a cashless way. And being able to, to people who didn't have smartphones or facial recognition. So without much further ado, I would like to pass it on to Yana to introduce Cyclist. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Let me just share the screen. 1 second. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And Teja, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm Jana, I'm the founder of Cyclus, and we deliver refills of consumer products to door. And so when you buy currently FMCG products in store, be it warung or supermarket, it's expensive, it's inconvenient, and it's environmentally harmful. And we deliver refills of consumer products to door in refill bikes. We offer a service that's 10 to 50% cheaper than market. We offer the convenience of to-door delivery. 95% of our customers are women. And actually one of the big plus of our service that they say is, they don't have to waste time going to the supermarket, but they can, get on with their lives. And we're completely free of single-use plastics. The way it works is that you can order a refill via our app or via WhatsApp, and then the refill bike comes to your doorstep, and you can use your own containers to refill products like detergent, shampoo, dishwashing liquid, cooking oil, and other products at a discount. And the way our business model really works is that we buy products in large jerry cans, so 25-liter jerry cans. We then really provide the tech and dispensing and use third-party logistics to deliver this to our customers. The customers save money, and then the FMCG actually gets the jerry can back and saves packaging costs that way. And so in the first phase, we're really focusing on direct-to-customer sales, and we use third-party logistics for the distribution. And later, there's other revenue streams like advertising, data analytics, and ultimately building our own brand. In terms of our team, my background is in behavioral economics and sustainability, and our team combines backgrounds in tech, marketing, and operations. And we're very lucky to be backed by great investors like Teja Ventures, Golden Space Capital, and also several of Gojek C-level, as well as partners from several VCs like Invest Idea, Jungle VC, Coffee VC, and also got some grant funding from FMCGs as well as Morgan Stanley. And just to talk a little bit about our fundraising journey. So I came to Indonesia initially on like a short trip, like in December 2019, just really with this idea, how can we make this happen? Like how can we sell products in a cheaper way and in a more sustainable way using refills? And we did this little pilot, and then I moved here last February. And I was lucky that I got a scholarship before from my university, so I didn't have debt, but I also really didn't have money. And it was a really tough time to raise because in March, COVID hit, but, we managed to raise an angel round, and actually in that round, and Teja came in as well. And what's been really, and then later, in the beginning of this year in March, we raised sort of like a pre-seed or bridge round, and are now, moving towards a seed round. And what was really interesting actually is that since I didn't really have a network in Indonesia, just because, I never lived here, I didn't really have, college or high school friends or other networks in Indonesia. I think a lot of the investments came from pretty unexpected places. So our first investor actually, she was a friend of a friend, and when I got robbed in an angkot in Jakarta, not a nice experience. I didn't have any money, so I asked my friend, like, you have this friend in Indonesia, right? Like, can you ask her if she can like lend me money and give me a phone? Because I have literally no money left. And so then they actually became our first investors. And so it's been pretty interesting, like how a lot of the connections came from very sort of unexpected places. So I think it's definitely an advice to people, never, unlike a lot of the early investment, they're not going to come from, from like big VCs or huge angel investors. They may just come from people that, you sort of randomly meet. And Teja Ventures was, the first VC that came in, and so far, the only VC. And it's been really great to have that support and backing and sort of VC mindset early on. I think that a lot of times angel investors, they don't actually have a lot of time to spend on you because they may be like C-levels and, you know, they're already working like 80-hour weeks and they can't really like sit down with you. And I think that's been super, super helpful. And we're now looking to do a seed round in the next 3 months and are sort of prepping for that now and already have some leads, which is really exciting. Just in terms of like how gender impacted the fundraising, I think oftentimes it's hard to really point that out because oftentimes these are statistical differences, right? So statistically, if somebody sees a female founder, they're less likely to invest. But you don't really know that because you just see, okay, there's some rejections, but you don't know, you know, is it because subconsciously they valued me as less just because I'm a woman? But I've definitely had experiences where I'm sitting next to like a male founder and somebody else, maybe another founder, is really taking that founder super seriously and thinks of me as like some NGO. And I'm like, I literally raised more money than this person. I have more traction. Like, I don't understand why you're like looking down upon me this much as compared to like male peers who may have achieved much less. And I think I definitely felt that at times. I think in terms of the team, it's been really interesting because I think in Europe or in the US, I had a much tougher time to, I would say, get respected, get, you know, seen as a leader, just because I was a woman. And I think in Indonesia, it's a little bit easier for me because people seem to be more intimidated by me because I'm a foreigner. And so I guess there's a little bit of like bule privilege, I would say, that I definitely have, which sort of makes up for other things. But it's been super interesting to see that play out. And just in terms of, you know, what our milestones are, we've had really high growth this year and super high. We have 10,000 downloads on our app. I think now 12,000. We've had, you know, we're now serving 6,000 customers in Greater Jakarta and have several thousand on our waiting list. We launched our customer app and our seller app and have partnerships with P&G, Nestle, Wings, Total Quimindo, RB, and are currently onboarding more FMCGs. And our plan is really to have, you know, 250 refill stations in Bandung, Bali, and Greater Jakarta this year, launch our IoT dispensing tech, and also save 30 million sachets from being produced in the first place. And I think the question is really, you know, like, which Indonesia do you want to live in? I think that our company has this vision of creating the next sustainable model of retail that is accessible, fair, plastic-free, to create a clean Indonesia. And yeah, I'm very interested in, you know, answering your questions and talking more about fundraising and being a female founder. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jana. Now I'd like to hand it over to Sarah of Do It Ape.
Hi, thank you so much, Virgie, and for AVPN and everyone here. It's nice to meet you all and then have this opportunity. I want to talk a little bit about Do It Ape, and first and foremost, I owe a lot to Virgie, who was one of our earlier investors, and I'll tell a little bit more about it, but basically we literally can't be here if it weren't for her. So thanks a lot, Virgie. So Do It Ape, we're a fintech. We focus on e-payment for the unbanked. And we work with small mom and pop shops, very much like the one on the right. And that's the kind of partners that we have and we work with. So next. Virgie touched upon a little bit on this. On the onset of COVID, within the first 6 months, we actually grew 50 times. So we're very, very fortunate during such a difficult time that we were able to grow so much. Next. So the problem that we're trying to solve is because Indonesia is the second largest cash-based economy in the world. And what happens is that it makes mass payment extremely difficult because all payments must be made physically in person. So next. And so I faced that problem myself before, where it was so difficult to make payments. And so I actually, within that job where I managed a $600 million fund for aid to reduce payment, I saw the need. And so we created with Hub as a solution that enables institutions like the one I worked for before to actually make mass digital payments to the unbanked. And we do this by having a facial recognition based payment ecosystem at these small shops like the one that you saw up front. So in order to use us, actually, you don't even actually need a phone. All you need is a face, PIN, and shop, and that's it. So no card, no phone, no bank necessary for doing transactions on our platform. So next. And year on year, compared to last year, we actually grew 13 times. So we've already, our gross transaction value last year was about $3.5 million. Next. And then how we, during that time, we actually distributed $1 million worth of funds, mostly in the form of aid, to around 200,000 individuals. But then the great thing about this is that we did not only benefit those that actually received the aid payment or the funds distributed, but we also impacted the stores and the SMEs that served as our distribution points. And then so people simply had to go to their neighborhood store, show their face, put in the PIN, and shop, and made it so easy that we were able to actually create a $6 million economic impact, not just from the beneficiaries that received the funds, but then also the stores, and the increase that they received, and then also from those stores buying from their distributors, and so on and so forth. And so the funds that we distributed, as I mentioned, for last year was mostly aid, and we did that for the government of Indonesia, for United Nations. We did that for World Vision. We did that for CARE, Nahdlatul Ulama, and also for companies like MasterCard and HSBC and Dow even, and Cargill. So in addition to aid, we also are now entering commercial phase where we are distributing, also entering payroll distribution as well as microloans. But basically, we connect all sorts of institutions that need to make payments to the unbanked, and we enable this very easy way of distributing it. So next. So as I mentioned before, we actually increase the sales in these stores that we partner with. On average last year, each store got an increased sales by $4,200 in 1 month. Next. And then we also provide the institutions that distribute the funds great high accountability, because we are able to give a live data report on the funds, making sure that they are received by the right person. We can know who, what, when, where, and we can even know that the kind of goods that were redeemed at these stores. So very clear data. Next. And the market size for this is huge. As I mentioned, what we've been doing so far has been mostly on aid, but then there is a huge market beyond that. So also for payroll distribution, which right now is still, a lot of it is in cash. And then after that is also for microloans, which right now is also done in cash. So next. And in comparison to the other players, we actually focus very much on the bottom of the pyramid. So where in the others, you actually need some kind of phone, we only need a face, that's it. Okay, next. So we have a very strong and experienced team. Most of the C-level has over 20 years of experience. And also, like with the first founders, I'm co-founders also with my husband as well, but I am the CEO, and it's fully running the company. Next. We have been very, very fortunate, and the first one that we won, as Virginia mentioned, was actually She Loves Tech, and that was way back in 2017. And we won then Seed Stars. We also won APEC, Global Innovation in Science and Technology, and we also won Suncup Awards in Financial Inclusion last year. Next. So last year we closed oversubscribed fundraising. We actually targeted 500,000, but we're very lucky that we got we actually were oversubscribed, and due to Corona, we decided on closing at 1.3 million, and we hope to actually raise some more around next year. Okay, so thank you very much. And oh, I need to mention that like with Virgie, on her role, really she's been supporting us since the very beginning. She actually went in as an angel investor before she finally joined later on as a VC investor. So in the last round, Virgie also invested together with 500 startups with Asian Development Backbenchers, and but it is really a lot of the guidance that you gave, Virgie, and really pushing us to have an understanding of like where VCs are coming from and where investors are coming from. And I think actually really caring about what we are trying to do, that and that really made a difference. And it's a very, I think you always Virgie always gives like these very short snippets of advice that are spot on. So it's not like overly too much, but exactly what I needed to hear. And it's very honest, but also very encouraging. And so I think it's a really, really good relationship that I don't have with all of the investors. And so I think it's been great. So thanks, Virgie.
You're very welcome, Sarah. And it is a pleasure to work with both you and Yana. It's a pleasure to be there. And, you know, for you guys to be part of Teja's story as much as for us to be part of yours. And Sarah, I will give another short snippet of advice, which is that stop saying that you were lucky. You were good, which is why you had an oversubscribed seed round. And Yana too. You were oversubscribed because you're good, not because you're lucky. Okay. So I'm gonna go straight into, I think, the Q&A. There's a lot of Q&A, but before I go into some of the panel questions, I wanted to just touch on what has been the hardest thing about fundraising, actually, because I think, you know, I think She Loves Tech data shows us that I think 75% of our entrepreneurs tell us that it's the biggest challenge that they face. And I mean, it's kind of beautiful. It's been really amazing to see you and Yana, Sarah and Yana, really, you know, transform throughout this fundraising phase. And trust me, there's more to come, ladies. So maybe you can share, right? Sort of what was your biggest challenge and how did you actually grow? And yeah, and then maybe I'll just get straight to the panel questions after that. Yeah.
Okay. I think if you don't mind me answering first, Yana, but really it was difficult. So coming in, I've heard a lot about gender lens investing. It's like, oh, that's nice that there are programs especially for women. And I thought that everything was on an equal level. But as the more and more I progressed, it was very actually, it was not easy. I think it was extremely difficult to get funding. And I think also for like I focused a lot on the things that I cared about. And I think that's one of the things that you mentioned, like, no, you have to focus on things that investors care about. Yes, they care in the why and the problem, but but these are the things that they would care about metrics, about traction, and then just like and that kind of it pushed us further in terms of making it easier to actually gain funding. But yeah, it was, I think it's a different language that we, at least I personally spoke before actually getting coaching to, it was a different language than what the investors were speaking. And so I think that also contributed to the difficulties for at least for me in getting funding.
I would just say, so I think in the first one was definitely a lot harder, just because it was a one-woman show. Like I was on my own. Like I remember my mom would say, like I would talk about Ciclos as we, we did this, and then my mom would be like, Yana, like you're so arrogant, like you're only yourself. Like, are you referring to like me, myself, and I as we, But like it was pretty hard, because it's like we just had this like one shitty like pilot to like raise money on, and but we had to raise because unfortunately I just I didn't have savings. I couldn't really like bootstrap properly, and so I was like, okay, we just have to raise. And I think, but then once the first came in, like it was easier, but then also COVID hit, and that made it pretty difficult. I would say like it was not easy, just because you have this like anxiety of like, are they gonna pull out? And we weren't incorporated yet, so it just took forever to get the money in, just because there were so many like steps. Like I was a foreigner, like there were so many steps to like getting the money in, like from like so that was really hard. And I would say in the second one, I really think that it's all about like creating that FOMO. Like we initially said, oh, we just want to raise like a really mini bridge, like 150K, and it became oversubscribed so quickly that we could just really shift the whole dynamics, where it was like, oh, well, can you tell me what kind of investor are you? What support do you give? Can I speak to some of your investees? And suddenly they feel like, oh my God, I may not be able to come in. So like, then they really want to come in. And I really noticed that you have to somehow create that FOMO of like, you have to be like, I am the opportunity. All these investors want to invest in me. Why should I take your money and not somebody else's money? Right. And I feel that this switch made it much easier. But of course, you have to also be in that position. But there's definitely like a lot of rejections. And I think especially if you're sort of like, maybe in your previous life didn't have so many rejections, and then you just have to accept that, like, you speak to 100 investors and like, or whatever, 50 investors, and like, 40, 45 of them are going to say no. You have to get used to it, but you can't be beat down by it. Same with like, grant applications or whatever. You can't just be like, oh my God, like I didn't get this. So you just have to be like, okay, not a match. Like, it's fine. Let me have a beer and keep talking to the next one. And I think that's a skill to learn, like not to get affected by rejections.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ladies. There's a lot of questions from the audience. I'm just going to choose one each, okay? I think, maybe for Duirape, I think the latest question is, have any of the funds been coming from the government? Are there plans to collaborate with government on aid distribution? And I think on the Ciclos side, I think, Yana, the question is, do you foresee more Indonesian women involved as management and individual resellers?
Okay, I'll just answer this. Like, obviously, it's not a good look that like I'm a female founder and then my entire management team is male, right? and like, I'll just be really honest, but and it's not like I was like, oh my God, I don't want to have a woman, but it's really hard to find people who are very good and are willing to take a massive pay cut and join something where they have to work like crazy, where they have no idea what's going to happen. And it's really hard to find those people. And so I was kind of like, these people sort of found me, and some of them I found, and somehow made it happen. And so I don't feel like I was in the luxury of having like, 5 amazing, head of engineering people, some of whom were with women candidates, who really wanted to join and like, just take a big pay cut and do this. And so, like, I'm super grateful for them who joined. And so I would love to have more women in the team, right? If you know of women who, at whatever level, we're hiring in tech and operations and data and like everything, right? We're always looking for new talent. If you do know of women who want to join this, like, please, tell them to reach out to me, because I would love to find them. So,
I think we should try to find you an Indonesian co-founder. Actually, I never thought about it. We try to find you a super operator Indonesian co-founder. Actually, that would be really cool. Yeah. Well, let's think about it. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yep. And as women as resellers?
yeah, so we initially had a global model. And I think we definitely have like a little bit of a social commerce angle because we have a lot of group buying and we're looking into this. But I likely only want to focus on it later when our tech is more evolved, just because it took us a while to find a model that works. And now we're like, okay, we have something that works. Let's just focus on this now and grow it. But definitely we're looking at, we actually have a lot of like these social commerce people already sort of naturally. So I hope that we can expand it more. And we're now working with the wife of the governor of Jakarta on like entering the Arisan. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Yana. Sarah?
Yes, thank you. And in terms of, we have been collaborating with the government, but actually the funds that we've been distributing have not been from the government. And we have been really trying to actually, so we did pilots before, but we want to actually, the government is the one who could benefit the most from our system, because we know and we can do it. We've done it in very remote areas even, and we know that we can do it. But it is not the easiest. So we have actually did a pilot in 2019, but then it's been, and we've been approaching also like the government of Jakarta and the government in the national level, whether but it has not been we have not actually been able to do that. But we are speaking, we are continuously speaking and seeing, and because actually the impact of this we see the biggest would be if we actually work with the government and we are actually offering our services without any kind of investment, so they would be free to use it. But so if anybody here could actually help us in that as well, that would be great. But yes, we would love to, and that would be a dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Yana. I'm just handing it now back to Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Virginia, Ms. Yana, and Ms. Sarah for this insightful discussion. And we really wish we had longer time together. It's great to see so many questions and all your insights. I would now like to welcome Ms. Dini Indrawata Septiani, AVPN Indonesia Director, to give her closing remarks. Dini, over to you.
Thank you to the honorable speakers, Dr. Julia Newton-Howes, CEO of Investing in Women, Sandra Alvina, CEO and co-founder Sunkist, Mutiara Mahendra Brata, CEO EduCourse, Yana, CEO and founder Cyclus Refill, Sarah Dewanto, founders and managing director Duit HP, and also our great moderators, Romi Cahyadi, CEO and founders Instellar, Virginia Tan, founding partners and CEO Teja Ventures. Today, we'll learn from these fabulous speakers on their journey in genderless investing. Hope that will be inspiring for investors to put more capital toward genderless investing, and for women entrepreneurs to keep going and build the enterprises that resolve our nation's most pressing challenges. Thank you for investing in women, to trust AVPN to co-host 2 series of events. The one we have done on 16th of August, which resulted into a great discussions in exploring opportunities in genderless investing to drive economic growth in Indonesia. And also today's event, which showcases the investing journey within women founders and also their investors or supporters. We are excited to have more collaborations with investing in women to promote and support more gender causes further to help the economic recovery in Indonesia. Thank you to all organizers, team from Investing in Women. We have been in coordinating with Prachi Maheswari and also Wita Kristanti. Thank you for the smooth and fruitful coordinations. And also, not to mention our fabulous AVPN team, Patsian, Janice, Natalie, and Rama, who made this event successfully conducted. Finally, thank you to all participants. I hope these past 2 events really benefit yourself and your organizations in seeing the opportunities in genderless investing, as well as to start redefining how we can collaborate in gender causes, especially in Indonesia. So see you in the next event. So I'll give it back to Natalie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dini. And this is just one conversation of many on gender lens investing. So as we close out our event, I'm delighted to share a video that's supported by Investing in Women, which showcases financial inclusion for women entrepreneurs in Indonesia. So once again, thank you so much for joining the event today, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The story behind Investry is we see there is a huge gap in financing that is not met by the banks, by the formal sector. Some statistics say it's about 100 billion in Indonesia. So how do we use and leverage our experience as bankers? How do we leverage technology and combine that to provide the solution for SMEs? And I think that is how Investry started. That has to do a lot with impact objectives such as financial inclusion. And specifically, over the past year and a half, we have also highly emphasized on women entrepreneurship. With regards to this gender lens related to our partnership with Java Mountain Coffee, in terms of providing them with green financing, working capital, which enables Java Mountain Coffee to grow, to expand. Apart from that, we also help connect to international capital, which hopefully will expand the business and enhance the ability to further empower the women farmers of Indonesia. What we see over the past 3 to 5 years is that there has been a higher trend adoption of digital into many women entrepreneurs, whether it's using a point of sales, digital point of sales, whether it's using payment gateways, whether it's using cloud accounting. Those are the infrastructure, the ecosystem that Investry connects. And by having more and more SME women adopt digital technology, that would enable us to provide more access of information on these SMEs and to further assess the creditworthiness of these SMEs. And this is the trend that we see going forwards. I believe that through connection with AVPN network, that is actually why we want to further enhance that empowerment of women-based entrepreneurship.